Good evening and thank you for joining me on Black News Tonight. I'm Mark Lamont Hill. The jury is still being seated to hear the case against 3 white men charged with killing Ahmaud Arbery. All right. Greg and Travis McMichael, who are father and son along with William Bryan, are on trial for shooting and killing 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery on February of 2020. The judge presiding over the case said he was frustrated with how the pace is going. There was another group of 20 potential jurors who were supposed to be questioned today, but the judge sent them home because they were still questioning people from the first group of 20. The goal is to seat 12 jurors as well as 4 alternates, but the challenge is finding jurors who can be fair and impartial. The shooting happened in a suburb of Brunswick called Satilla Shores. Today, close to 100 people who came to town to support the Arbery family went to that neighborhood and held a prayer vigil. They walked the same route Ahmaud Arbery ran when he was shot.
This one just really hits you when you see what happened, when you look at the distance from the house that he was supposedly gone to and the distance to where he ended up killed, and the fact that it's really not that far, and you know that these people had to have known that Ahmaud comes this route and must have been either waiting on him because it happened too quick. So it makes you feel like, people are hunting people, and it's just sad. It's so sad to see this. It breaks my heart.
The black community in Brunswick is optimistic that the Arbery family will get justice for their son with 3 guilty convictions when the trial ends. We'll have continuing coverage of the trial right here on BNC. The funeral for 25-year-old Jelani Day was held today in Danville, Illinois. In attendance were friends and family, as well as civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson and several members of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Day was an Illinois State University graduate student whose body was identified almost a month after he was reported missing. Now, Day's mother and fraternity are seeking the assistance of federal officials to investigate his case, as they are dissatisfied with how local authorities have handled Day's case.
I will not stop until I find out what happened to Jelani. I am asking, I'm begging, I'm pleading for the state, the Attorney General, to do what he needs to do to make sure that we get the FBI involved.
And civil rights attorney Ben Crump is pushing for criminal charges against the 2 deputies who were present when Jamal Sutherland died. Sutherland died January 5th after becoming unresponsive as Charleston County detention deputies forcibly removed him from his cell. Crump, referencing video from the incident, says that deputies tased Sutherland 10 times. Charleston County Solicitor Scarlett Wilson announced back in July that her office would not file charges against the deputies. In New York City, the Civilian Complaint Review Board is recommending that dozens of officers who were involved in the protests after the death of George Floyd be disciplined. The agency is recommending that 65 officers face administrative charges for abuse of authority, making false statements, and use of force. It says it investigated more than 750 complaints, including ones that said officers covered their names in shields, did not use body cameras properly, and filed incomplete and delayed paperwork. So far, the board has completed 127 investigations, and it found proof of 42 complaints. More than 100 investigations still remain open. The head of New York's Democratic Party has apologized after comparing a black woman running for mayor in Buffalo to a former KKK leader. Facing backlash from all sides of the party, New York State Democratic Chair Jay Jacobs issued a statement yesterday saying he should have, quote, used a different example. Jacobs was asked why several leaders in the Democratic Party have yet to endorse Democratic primary winners such as Buffalo's socialist candidate India Walton. And he responded with an analogy referencing David Duke, the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, despite saying using an extreme example of David Duke winning a primary was wrong. Jacobs still maintains primary winners are not automatically entitled to an endorsement from party leadership. This is an example of the arrogance of whiteness and the arrogance, quite frankly, of the Democratic Party. They do what they want to do. and they do how they want to do it. Democrats win the primary for mayor, and they get endorsed by the party. I don't care who you are, you get endorsed by the party. That's the argument. That's the history. That's the pattern, not just in Buffalo, but in cities all around the country, in states all around the country, and quite frankly, in presidential elections too. When do they not do that? We saw people endorse Donald Trump after saying they wouldn't. So why wouldn't they endorse this sister? The answer? Because she's a sister. And so what they do is they make it sound like this is a historically unprecedented case. Well, we wouldn't endorse David Duke. Well, guess what? Y'all have endorsed KKK leaders before, quite frankly. Look at what you did in West Virginia. But let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that this sister is not a KKK leader. She's fighting for freedom and justice and equality, workers' rights, health care, housing, and education. You just don't like the fact that y'all candidate didn't win and that you might be forced to reckon with some honest but tough truths about this country and about your state and about your city. So let's not play games here. This sister ain't a KKK leader. She's a black woman who deserves and has earned her party's support. Texas lawmakers have approved a redrawn U.S. map, a House map, House of Representatives, favoring the GOP and decreasing representation for people of color who have helped drive the state's growth. The Republican-drawn map was approved late last night, allowing Republicans to hold 24 of the 38 congressional districts to be Republican-led. People of color account for 9 of 10 new residents in Texas over the last decade, and Governor Greg Abbott is expected to approve the changes. According to federal data, 10% of the wealthiest Americans own 89% of U.S. stocks. As the stock market created a great sum of America's wealth during the pandemic, it also created a new record in wealth disparities. Throughout the pandemic, the top 1% gained $6.5 trillion in corporate equities and mutual funds, while the bottom 90% gained not even a fifth of that, with only $1.2 trillion. The top percent now have a record high with 32% of total wealth, 70% of their recent earnings being from stocks. The notorious gang behind the kidnapping of more than a dozen U.S. missionaries are now demanding a ransom. The 400 Mawozo gang responsible for the kidnapping of 17 members of a U.S.-based missionary group is demanding $1 million in ransom per person, according to reports. A top Haitian official told the Associated Press today that authorities are not sure the ransom demand includes the 5 children being held. The White House announced earlier today a warning advising Americans not to travel to Haiti as the FBI is working to free those who have been kidnapped. Sickle cell is the most common blood disorder in the black community. While there have been advancements in the fight, could the cure lie in cutting-edge treatment being tested in human trials right now? Continuing our Be Well series, a closer look at this therapy called Crispr.
Mason Cooley just had twin boys.
They're sweet, happy babies.
Becoming a mother was not something she ever thought she would do because Amy has sickle cell disease.
I have SS, which is supposedly the most harsh type. I am at fault, I have to say it. I am at fault for passing down sickle cell trait to my boys.
While there is no cure for the debilitating disease, vaccines have helped in the fight.
The pneumococcal vaccine is very important, and the reason why is because people that have sickle cell disease, they have a difficulty opsonizing certain bacteria with capsules on them.
As a result, from 1999 through 2002, sickle cell related death among black children younger than 4 fell by 42%.
They could live a really good life and have no issues with sickle cell at all.
Looking toward the future, could the cure for sickle cell lie in a gene therapy called Crispr?
Clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. Okay, that's CRISPR.
So it detects a particular sequence of words, code of DNA, if you will, makes a snip in the DNA, and then corrects the mutation very efficiently.
In March of this year, a University of California consortium led by Dr. Mark Walters was granted FDA approval to launch early phase and human clinical trials of CRISPR in sickle cell patients using their own blood-forming stem cells.
What we hope will happen is that after the treatment, it will be a permanent change in their hematopoietic stem cells. That is, there would be enough of the healthy hemoglobin being made from red blood cells derived from those corrected stem cells.
With this revolutionary treatment, there could be risks.
One of the concerns in particular that we're worried about is that the level of correction won't be high enough to cure the disease. It might make it better, but it won't eliminate it. Second thing is that, we're using tools that change the genetic code of the stem cell. And we're worried that we could introduce an unwanted change that could cause cancer.
In the meantime, those living with and managing sickle cell are hopeful that the trials prove successful.
That's my wildest dream. As soon as there are more studies and I see, more progress being made, sign me up. I'm all for it.
For BNC, I'm Naja Sherman.
While CRISPR is one way that doctors hope to permanently eradicate sickle cell, there are other therapies, including red blood transfusions and bone marrow transplants. To see more of our Be Well series, go to bnc.tv and click on Health. Also, be sure to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages to let us know how you feel. Also, visit our website, bnc.tv, and subscribe to our YouTube page to check out clips from the show.